Welcome back, Real Talk family, to another episode of Real Talk in Real Estate. Of course, I'm your man, Corey the Money Man Smith. We also got, of course, we know the philosopher. What's going on?
What's the deal, man? Did y'all realize, what's today? Today's Thursday. Tuesday or Wednesday, it was like 50-something or 40 degrees, though.
It was freezing outside. I felt like we was up east
Panhandle
somewhere.
got snow.
Hey, that's my type of weather.
Let's bring him in, the man that needs no introduction, the closer.
What's up, what's up, what's up?
What's going on, fellas? Man, I tell you what, before we get started, man, I like to say rest in peace. Rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah.
I'm going to be foolish. What song did he do?
Huh?
What was this song?
What was this song? What? Oh, man, you ain't heard his songs? Hey, man.
For real, though, what is that?
Your card might be revoked here soon.
I don't even think you know what he's saying. So you just want to have a fly comment.
Hey, look, I'm just saying. You know, you're gonna have to do your own research on that one, brother. You're gonna have to do your own research and need not ask that question no more. Do you know he sold mixtapes for $100 a piece? Do you know that?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
Who bought him?
We got to do better.
Who bought it? Who bought $100 mixtape?
It's actually a lot of people that bought it. I mean, it was packaged as a mixtape, but it was really, you know, a few other things. It was like a mixtape. It was like some tickets to his concert. It was some apparel and stuff like that. So it was really, you was buying a package, but you know, still, you know, he sold mixtapes for $100, and quite a few people bought some.
My understanding is that he owned a clothing store. He had a clothing brand, which was actually really, really, really well.
Right. He was very much an advocate for his neighborhood, for his community, and he did a lot of stuff for it. So that's for sure. That's for sure. But anyways,
You still ain't said what song you sang.
hey man, I can't sit up here and school you on everything about the culture. You gonna have to get culturally educated yourself.
Say, man, I'm 40
Pick
years
up your phone, download an app.
I'm 40 years old, and the first
Do something.
hey, the most culture I got is I listen to screw music every now and again.
You listen to screw music? Oh, a lot of people don't know nothing about that.
Yes,
Chop and screw.
I'm from Houston, Texas.
Oh,
We had that conversation.
That's Houston stuff.
So
That's
that's
Houston.
as culturally as I
conversation
get. And if I'm not mistaken, Nipsey is from what, California, something like that.
Cali.
I would not know nothing about it. Outside of DJ
West
Quick,
Coast? West Coast?
West Coast?
outside of DJ Quick, Easy, and Ice Cube, which you don't rap that much anymore.
You gotta put Dr. Dre on the list.
Dre
Know
don't
about
rap no
Dre.
more.
Snoop?
Dre don't rap no more. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? He was a rapper at one point in time.
Dre,
He
once
was
in a while. He get on M. He get on M stuff
He did
every
some
now and then.
classics now. He did some classics.
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg. I don't know if you said Snoop Dogg. I mean, it's a lot
look,
of
we
cats.
still waiting for that Chronic 3 or whatever that Dre's
Oh,
supposed
the
to be.
detox. The detox
We
is supposed
still
to be coming out.
We still
Hey,
waiting
you
for
Born
said-
that thing for the longest.
Hey, look.
10 years. 10 years.
I think Suge Knight had something to do with that. They wouldn't let him release that.
After he sold Beats, man, you can pretty much hang that up. All the music is getting shelved from here on out.
Oh, yeah.
He ain't.
Oh, yeah.
He done made his money. What am I really doing? I figured he'd just throw it out there. You know what I'm saying? Just to see what the public gonna say.
I know,
mean,
right?
because his already done. They just need to throw it out there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I heard it was complete. It was already done. They just
Yeah, he
Hadn't
just holding
put it
on
in.
to it. I don't know, man.
and now you can mix it up again. Look, and bring some of these new cats in there.
Yeah,
What new
just
cats you
add
gonna
some
bring in?
features on there.
Who would honestly would they feature on that?
Well,
There's a lot of folks they can feature, but hold on. Walt get me all off topic, man. We supposed to be talking about
You the
real
one
estate.
started it.
We supposed to be talking about real estate.
The host started a topic that he knows.
I did. I'm finna get us back on topic. The topic on this episode we're gonna talk about is the real estate agent mentality. All right?
real estate agent mentality.
The real estate agent's mentality when it comes to approaching a transaction with a buyer, specifically.
Okay, so how we approach
How you approach dealing with buyers.
how we deal with buyers,
How
or
we
deal with the game itself. The
how
real
we
estate
deal.
game itself.
Okay,
Lord
so
have
there's
mercy.
there's many facets and many levels to
I
this
thought we
type
got this
of mentality.
decided in the production meeting, man. What happened?
We did.
But
did.
you know what? You start talking about it.
Yeah, you start
know.
talking about it. I mean, we had to narrow it down some way.
What was it narrowed down to?
We talked about real estate agents' mentality.
So how in the world are we talking about in the game and what about?
The real estate's mentality, agent's mentality in the game.
In the game, that's it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you know
In
what
the
I'm saying?
game of real estate.
We can't talk about both. I mean, you know, we can't be on the pod. I mean, we can't be on this episode here for 4 hours. Ain't nobody
Well, we
listening to that.
can, but
I mean, we can, but yeah, we gonna
have
chop
to
it up.
chop it and screw it up for about
An
an hour piece.
So we'll make it a.
Hey, you ain't slick. I heard that, homeboy.
So hey, look. So we gonna have to. So we gonna have to make it a series. We gonna make it a series.
No.
Oh yes.
We can make it a
Definitely,
series.
Definitely,
Make it a series.
Definitely.
The real
'Cause
estate
you know
agent's
what?
mentality, series 1,
Yeah.
dealing with
I
buyers.
mean, episode 1.
Episode 1.
F1 with the
Jacked up,
okay.
man.
Yeah,
Dealing with
I'm
buyers.
game for that. I'm
You game for that?
Yeah,
Dealing
we
with
can do
buyers.
that.
And
'Cause
then the
there's a
next
lot
time we
to-
talk about
'cause there's a
sellers.
lot to talk about.
It's a lot to break down. It's a lot to break down with buyers because now we got to get.
Well, like,
'cause when they tune in, they looking for the real, and we gonna have to give them the real. We gonna have to get their mentality right because a lot of their mentality is not right.
Well, you know, and then the other side of it too is, you know, that I think that people don't really understand what the real estate agent does.
Yes.
You know, they don't. They, you know, it's not like the car dealership where you go into the car dealership, Nissan or Chevy, and the salesman sitting there and like he just show you to a couple cars and then you pick one and then go.
Right.
There's so much more in it
It is.
rolled up.
And a lot of people get themselves into trouble because they don't necessarily understand the value of having an agent.
I agree
And then they
with you.
figure they can do the stuff on themselves and not realizing that they're actually costing themselves more money
Yeah.
because they don't do this on an everyday basis. So leads me to my first question. First question I have for the closer is what would you say the most valuable thing is for actually having an agent that a buyer wouldn't necessarily see or most commonly don't necessarily see?
I would say the protection. You know what I mean? It's kind of like if I got charged with a crime, right?
Yep.
I can go to court and I can sit there by myself and talk to the judge and go ahead and try my own case. You know
Right.
what I mean? Or
But is that the smart thing to
that
do?
ain't necessarily the smartest thing to do.
Right.
You know, and I'm taking one step further. That's not necessarily the smartest thing to do, even if I went to law school.
Right. Right.
Because I got all my emotions in it. I got all, you know, I'm not necessarily looking at it straight.
Yeah.
100%. Right.
Right.
So, you know, the flip side of that is bringing that attorney in that's going to make sure that my things are protected. That I understand what's going on, and it's going to give me the best case to win.
Yes.
And so that's kind of what a real estate agent is. I think that a real estate agent, we go to school for this. We train in this every single day. We do this every single day, all day long. Our whole goal is to make sure we know what we talking about.
Yeah.
So we your protection, in a sense, as a buyer. You know, and you know, we could talk about the stuff about people taking advantage of you and this and that and this and that. But if I was just to keep it to that point, that would be the thing that people don't realize how much of a role that plays. You know, how much of a role the protection of that the agent does for you, even just covering your paperwork and stuff.
Right. Now let's see the philosophy of the philosopher on what do you think is the most overlooked value for having an actual real estate agent when it comes to a buyer trying to buy a home?
Actually, it'd be the relationship that's built. You know, in everything that we do, from buying a car, going to the same grocery store, going to the same tax person, there's a relationship that's built there. And that relationship, once it's solidified, it's solidified on trust and understanding. And that's what we want to offer. And that's what the agent's true responsibility is, for them to trust you and understand you, because there is a lot that's about to take place when you're about to buy.
100%. I like that. I don't think. I think a lot of buyers don't. I think a lot of buyers don't necessarily understand that they're actually costing themselves more money in the end. To Walt's point is that, you know, when you're trying to negotiate a deal yourself, you may not know what's customary for the seller to take care of. Mm-hmm. And you may take on that responsibility. If the sellers know more than you, then you essentially shooting yourself in the foot. Right?
Well,
True.
And think about it like this. You know, if a real estate agent owns a property, we got to disclose that we own that property that we're about to sell.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that is? To some level, is to let the public know that we actually have an advantage because we understand the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So because we understand the industry at a higher level, and just average Johnny come in here and want to buy this house, I got to let him know, hey, I'm a real estate agent. You know what I'm saying? Like on the contract, it says I'm a real estate agent, because that even the industry says, hey, you got an advantage over this person from a intellectual standpoint. So it's important to note that, you know, that's some of the things that agents kind of do. That's what we're here for. You know,
Right.
have to go to the philosopher's point. You know.
And then now the next thing is that there's a lot of discount agents, a lot of discount agencies and stuff like that that's out there, right?
Oh, you gonna open this one up?
We gonna open this Pandora box right here. We're gonna talk about this. So for the person that actually thinks that they can get the same service by going with a discount agent, going with a discount agency, whatever the case may be, it may or may not be the same service. What do you think is the biggest thing that people don't realize the real estate agent's mindset is when you're getting full commission as opposed to if you're getting a discount commission? What do you think the mentality is? Closer?
You gonna toss it to me first?
Toss it to you.
Well, you know, are you saying more from the buyer side, or are you saying more just
More from the agent side. From the agent side.
Either side.
I think the you know, as a discount. Well, let me get on the page of this right here. As a discount agent, okay, there has to be a reason why I'm discounting myself, right? And I don't think it's for competitive edge, okay? Because, and this is what I mean by that, is we got real estate agent A and real estate agent B. Real estate agent A is a discount agent. Real estate agent B is a agent that charges full commission, okay? There's just on a theory of why would I, if we're doing the same job, okay, why would I charge less to do exactly the same thing? Right. And the reality of it is there's no industry where you do that. If I'm a dentist, okay, and I go get my teeth done, now the difference is there's no line that says all braces cost $1,000, right? Mm-hmm. But I can guarantee that they're not going to all of a sudden, it's going to be within margins, right? Right. That I'm not going to go head to this dentist, and this dentist is going to charge me $1,000 to get braces on my teeth, and this dentist is going to charge me $200. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Right.
What? That's gonna make me suspect right there. You gonna be in my mouth.
It's gonna make you nervous a little bit.
You know, what is it that you're not getting? Am I not getting the X-rays? Mm-hmm. Am I not getting the specialist?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Am I not getting? What am I not getting in the scenario that makes this guy believe that those braces and what it takes to put it in my mouth is worth $1,000, and this one thinks it's worth $200? Right. Okay, so when you put that in the real estate realm, you know what I've seen just over the industry is they're cutting back on marketing, they're cutting back on the physical cost of stuff, because it costs to do anything. If I do an open house, that's cost. Right. There's gas money in there. There's marketing. There's flyers. There's presenting, cleaning up, all that stuff. There's some cost secured to that, right? So you might get one open house, maybe. You know what I mean? You might get some regular marketing, some more basic that I'm going to just throw in a folder in black and white. You know what I mean? Right. Like, I ain't doing nothing special, right? And I think those are just kind of two of the examples that I kind of always jump at when I start to think discounted versus not. But this is the big one, I think. As a discounted agent, I can't, if I can't validate why I should get paid the full price, then how am I going to validate your price for the people that I'm selling your house for, or for the people, even negotiating on the buyer's side. How am I going to negotiate on the other side if I can't even negotiate my own money?
Right.
To make sure that I'm getting it. I mean, it's almost like a contradiction, isn't it? You know?
Yeah.
But that's just the closers. I'm a little passionate about that. That's my closer's point of view.
Right. and I 100% get it, because if I'm dealing with a contractor and this contractor here is almost 100% more than this other contractor, I got to think, man, like, you know, is the lower contractor using cheaper materials? You know, is he shortchanging me? Is he, you know, he got somebody that's not as experienced? Like, what am I getting up by paying that cheaper price? And it goes to the point of, you know, you pay what you get for. You get what you pay for, or whatever. You know what I mean? I throw this to the philosopher. Like, if you go into a deal and you dealing with you versus somebody else that want to charge, you know, a fraction of the cost or whatever the case may be, what's your mindset when you go in and talk to the client?
All right, and pertaining to the discount agent, let's try to figure out where did this idea really come from, where the agents take less than 6 or 3. The real estate market has become
desperation.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a solid one. The real estate market has become so saturated with so many different agents, so many variations of real estate. The everyday agent, which is, I'm going to put myself in, I'm a regular agent. I'm not on a team, nor am I a part of a big conglomerate outside of Keller Williams, right? So in order to feel like you're being competitive, you got to do something to offer something to get to the business. I was taught nothing from 0 is still nothing. But if you get 2 out of it, or 3, or whatever the numbers may be, it's still something to create more business. Pertaining to, are you going to get the amount for what you pay for, what you get? That's not necessarily the case, because in every deal or in every situation, if you get an open house, if you get the flyers, if you get these things, you may not say, well, because it's black and white versus color. That's true, but you're still getting the same marketing material. You're still getting the information about the home. It's still getting out there, so the person can really sell the home. On your side, if you find someone who's doing a contractor who's doing it for less, that person is actually cutting on the labor, not necessarily the material, because the material is the material, whether you go to Home Depot or you order online or you go to a wholesaler with a contracting price. The thing about the quote-unquote discount agent is just trying to be competitive in such a saturated market. I can speak from this because of how I do what I do. By me primarily, 70% of my business is coming from investors. This is what I do. I get 3 on the buy side 90% of the time, and when I go back to sell it, I take 2.
But that's different.
That's still a discount.
But that's different.
No,
Hold on a second. Hold on, wait. Because this is where, and I don't mean to cut you off, but you got
to understand something.
You had a vital point of
but you understand, it's still a discount. We're not stating why, but when we're not stating how the discount came, it's still you are considering me a discount agent because
I'm not.
On one end versus the other.
No, I'm not. I'm not considering you a discount agent because you're not marketing yourself as a discount agent. You're not coming in and through the door, right? You're not marketing yourself as the dollar store and sitting next to Macy's. Okay? I think that's the difference between what you're doing in that scenario, and we all do that for our clients, is if we say, okay, you know what? We're doing a lot of business. See, you are a full commission agent, but what you're giving is value. And not only are you giving the value, but then you're building a relationship. And through your relationship, you're saying, well, you know what, because we got a long-standing relationship, I'm going to take care of you on the back end, because technically this is one deal, but if we're going to do 2 deals together, I'm going to go ahead and take care of you on the back end. I'm going to save you some money so you can get some more profit, right, Mr. Investor. Okay? Now, it'd be different if you walked into every investor and everything on your marketing material was, well, I only charge you 1% in the door, and I don't charge you anything on the backside. Well, in that instance, you're now a discount broker because you're telling them, and you telling them right out the gate, and as a competitive edge, I am not charging you what the regular agent per se, standard agent would charge, and you're thinking that's giving you a leg up. But see, this is where I think it's sometimes different, because I've beat out discount brokers and agents. When I talk about what I do and how I do it and why I do it, and how does that increase the odds and the visibility of a client, no matter it's buying or selling. I almost win every single time. There's a couple times that I haven't won, and that was because maybe their numbers were so tight that maybe they couldn't afford me. You know, they couldn't afford, but that's just like if I was going to the dentist, like I gave earlier. If I can't afford the braces, then I'm probably not going to be putting braces in my mouth. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm gonna have to save up some money, or I'm gonna go to the spot. You know what I mean? That gives some sort of discounted medical stuff because I have to. Okay, I think that's different. Okay, but I wouldn't consider you a discount broker per se, or a discount agent, as you said, because you're getting full percentage on the other side because of the value you give. And through your relationship, you just taking care of your client at the next level. I do the same thing with my residential people. If they sell their house with me, they might sell their house with me in full list. We go to buy. I'm gonna rebate them back something in most cases, you know, to make sure that they're taken care of and make sure we can continue to build the relationship. I want them to feel happy and win-win all the way through.
I think there's a difference, two different philosophies when it comes to actually being a discount broker and giving the bulk price, so to speak. So if you go in there and you buy something single, it's going to be priced more than if you buy it as a bundle. When you're doing multiple deals with an investor, I don't necessarily think that classifies you as a discount agent because the relationship is there and you're doing more than one deal. It's not a primary residence that you're buying and then maybe I'm done for the next 6-7 years or whatever the case may be. You're doing multiple deals repeatedly, so then therefore it warrants, you know, giving them the bulk price because you're not doing a single deal with them.
And I totally get that perspective. My thought process was that the idea of when you just say discount, you just say it's less than what the standard is. And so that's why I said, well, you know what, in these type of situations, sometimes, and as a rookie, because that's what we're going to end up eventually talking about, is which are the rookies. As a rookie, you're trying to get in the water, and I'm going to use a jacked up analogy, but you're trying to get in the water with sharks. I can honestly say, I'm a shark, Walter's a shark, Corey's a shark to a degree in his industry. You're getting in the water with sharks. And when you get in the water with sharks, you want to pull out the harpoon gun and aim it as best you can. And if doing it at a cheaper price is the best shot you got, that's what they do. Period.
Nothing wrong with that. Nobody's talking down about, you know, the whole discount thing. I guess what we trying to do is educate the buyers on what exactly are you giving up when you go with an actual company or an actual person that's giving up that price in the beginning. Like, what are they giving up? They're not doing open houses every weekend for you if they only charge you 1%.
1%, Lord have mercy.
I can guarantee that. Or if they're charging you a flat fee, they ain't doing no open houses for you.
Think about it like this. That's another marketing strategy, right? We say, the discount guys say, oh, well, we only charge 1%. That really means, most average person doesn't know, that really means 4%. Because they still going to do 3 on the buyer's side. Yeah. And that all they telling the seller is that we charge 1%. But on the paper, you know, I give you a piece of paper and it got the big 1% on it, like I just saw a billboard go up for we gonna keep them nameless. but they just put a big billboard of we only charge 1% for your selling your house. Okay, that goes back to that other podcast we talked about. Okay, so now I got agents that are salary that it doesn't matter whether or not they sell your house or not. So yeah, they charging 1% because they done took all the cuts and costs out of the value of what that agent is, and he's just a worker. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you think about it, he's just a data entry guy. He takes your listing or takes your house, data entry, puts it in there, puts it on the MLS. You know what we used to say? You put a sign in the ground and you pray that it sell.
Cross your fingers. You know, cross your fingers and pray.
You know, I mean, he ain't doing none of the extra stuff that we talk about in regards to like even building a relationship or building an environment that's conducive to your house selling, or if you're the buyer, which is mainly who we talking about, because think about it like this. If I'm getting a salary, do I really care which house you go to?
No. Doesn't matter.
No.
Does that agent even care if you get a solid deal or not?
Are they gonna look out for you in regards to the mortgage person and make sure that that's in line and the insurance and all? They gonna say that they do, but really for them it's about transactions. They just trying to get the number, the transaction, right?
Right.
But then let's go to the other side. You have some agents, I don't mean to call agents out, but you got some agents that go the other way, where they full agents, charging the full 3% as a buyer, and they trying to sell you the most expensive house in the world, knowing you only qualify for $270, but they try to take you to $300,000 house, $350. Yeah, like, dude, it could go both ways, okay? The key that I'm trying to make is that it comes down to that relation. You gotta, when you in getting a real estate agent involved, you gotta almost vet them or interview them, right, and find out really what their core is. Okay, look, right, philosopher looked at me like, because check this out, because look, that's the same argument we can have as the difference between an individual agent and a team. Yeah. I'm throwing all kind of.
That is true.
Yeah. The perception is that they think they're with a team that they're getting more. And in many cases, they're getting less because now they don't even talk to the principal person. No. They don't. So the name that's on the rider, they don't even talk to that person. They talk to a different person at every single stage of the transaction. So they really don't build a relationship. In those cases, you just as much of a transaction too. And I'm not dogging it. I just want to make sure these buyers and sellers out there, that they understand what they getting into when they go to, if I got a choice, I'm going to go with the choice that make me feel the best, as I go through it. If that transactional type of thing works for me, cool. That's fine. I'll tell you, just from my experience of doing this since 02, I'm 04, 05, pre-bust, you know what I mean, I think it always comes down to the relationship at the end of the day. I got people that I talked to from 10 years ago that call me up. I got people that I done built relationships over time that end up buying or selling from me, with me. And it was truly because they're like, you know what, I trust you, Walter, that you're going to take care of the best interest for me. Mm-hmm. That's what it comes down to.
What we have to understand as agents that we lose sight of that because at the end of the day, we all trying to do that one thing is pay our bills and take care of our families. And when we start seeing them dollar signs roll in on that commission, you like, okay, can we get them higher money, man? What's up? Can we push them? What can we push? They think they want to do something higher than what you said. What you think? And at that moment when we start saying whether or not we can really get them higher than where they need to be, at that point we have just did a disservice and we become unethical. Mm-hmm. At that moment when we have that thought and we put that thought into action by talking to another person within our party or within our transaction to see if we can go further than what's really, really needed for them to do.
Completely agree. Completely understand. Damn, I just lost my train of thought.
Come on,
man. You lost your train of thought, huh? I know you was about to say something good too. But
we've been doing the show for a while.
I got lots of running. I'm just saying. Lots of running. Oh no! Hey,
you haven't lost it like that since our first show. You know that, right?
I haven't. But you know what I'm saying? It was a solid point. You got this. You know what I'm saying?
Same, man. I don't think you can recover from that one, dog.
Yeah. I'm trying to recover from this joint, man. But anyways, we back on the mentality, man. Back on the mentality. All right. Come on, help me out, Chloe.
Look, you really lost it, didn't you? My question to you is: does that evaluation that we just kind of talked about, is that different in the mortgage side than it is on the real estate side, or does the mortgage industry kind of look at it the same way?
No, it's definitely different. It's definitely different. It kind of taps on some of the same points that y'all tap on. Is that you have to understand what kind of service that you're getting, and then also the other thing is that when you go for that cheaper or that discounted service, a lot of times that personal touch is not there. You may go with an internet lender or something like that. That may on the outside look like you're getting a better deal, but at the end of the day, it turns out to be a nightmare. They don't necessarily understand the actual local market, which we talked about on another episode. So they can't necessarily give you accurate numbers. So when you actually see the numbers that come out, it's like deer in headlights. You know, you just don't know why the numbers are so low to begin with, and now they're getting so high. And then the other thing is personal touch. That's another thing we talked about, personal touch and relationship. A lot of times these guys are just running through different numbers. Their salary, they're not necessarily worried about it. So getting back to you in a timely fashion on any kind of communication, any kind of question becomes a kind of a moot point for them because they really don't care. If you get pissed off and go somewhere else, they're just like, okay, well, on to the next one, on to the next number. Because at the end of the day, I'm either not making that many points off your loan anyway, or I'm salary. You know what I mean? I'd rather go deal with this bigger loan over here that just came in rather than deal with your $100,000 or whatever the case may be. And then that's where customer service can start to lag. But we it's parallel as far as the same principles and everything when it comes to the mortgage side and actual real estate agent side. I think we all fight against the discounted agents or discounted lenders out there that give you less service for the cost.
And you know what's funny is isn't that really what it's about? It's about service. You know what I mean? It's what's going, who's going to have your best interests in mind? Who's going to take care of you? Who's going to make sure all the steps are in line? Who's going to make sure that at the end of the day you're in the best position you can be in to make this transition? Right. Whether it's as a buyer, maybe you coming from an apartment to a house. You don't know it. If you're a first-time home buyer, you don't know nothing about owning a house. There's something I go through. There's a checklist that I go through with first-time home buyers. That at the end of the day, when we're about to close, we sitting there, we go through the checklist. All right, remember this, remember that, remember this, remember this. There's things I set up in my database so that it reminds them the following year to file their homestead or this is how you protest taxes. You know what I mean? This is how you do this and do that. And I'm always in relationship. There's so many people so many times that I end up getting clients that, as I like to say, are orphaned by either discount agents that only try to get they one deal from them, or these megas that it was a number system for them. You know what I mean? And I'm not dogging the megas in a general sense because there's some teams out there that are good.
Right.
Like they handle their business. And I would be unfair to say that is there one or two maybe discount people out there that's in it for the right deal, and really probably I will say in my experience, I haven't experienced it yet. I haven't experienced it yet where one was like, Walter, we're just in it to make the deal work. You know what I mean? Right. My client, I haven't come across it yet. You know what I mean? It's more of the other thing. And look, the philosopher know what I'm about to say. It's more of the other thing. Like, hey, man, we got to get this closed because that might be their only deal.
For real.
But the reality of it is it's about the client. It really comes down to the client. And if I was a client today, selling or buying a house, I would interview agents. I would interview the levels if I really had to come down to it. I'd interview a discount one. Mm-hmm. I'd interview a solid single agent, and I'd interview a team. And I'd see what my cup of tea is, right? And then based off of that, that's how I choose. Because sometimes you just click. Somebody walks in the door and they say, hey, this. And you're like, man, I really like this guy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or I really like this girl. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I feel like, we relate. Yeah. And I think sometimes I get them, right? Because remember, I'm that guy that sells the difficult houses that's been on the market for years, and I get them then.
Stop plugging, man.
But I like the plug, man. But check this out. That's what was missing every single time. Every single time. It was just somebody that didn't care. The people before them, it was all about the number. They were trying to sell a house. They didn't really sit down and talk to the person and say, what's the problem? What do you need to get done? Where are you at? You know, you need to know them type of things, because now that might change my strategy. That might change how I approach it. You know what I mean? And the same thing on the buyer side, right? Mm-hmm. What's your credit like? You know what I mean? How much money do you spend? You know what I mean? Let's come up with some rough numbers and kind of that's before they even get to you, the money, man. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. I want to have some sort of idea. That's me not looking at you like a number. I'm not trying to get in your business per se.
I'm trying to get in your business.
But I'm trying. Well, look, I'm not trying to get in your business, but I'm trying to get in your business to the degree where the more I know, the better I can lead you to the right person. Right. That's going to be able to help you. Yeah. Accomplish the goal, which is to buy a house.
Absolutely. I'll be all in their business, man. I can admit it, man. How much money you got in the bank? Exactly. I want to know how much money you got in the bank. For real. Wow. Okay, we got to understand it. Oh, do we need to go get you some closing costs? Because that determines how we're going to handle the contract. That's going to determine how we're going to get with the lender and say what we're going to do and how can we do it and what money we can and we can't do. And I know I can come across overbearing when I do this, but I still do it anyway. I care about the people enough to say, well, look, if we're going to make this thing happen, I want to know everything, and I want to know why. Yeah. I want to know, okay, well, you finna have a baby, or your children may have issues with they break their leg, they real frail, or something is always going on with the children that can hinder us. I want to know so I can say, well, look, we got some back-end issues that may come up, so we can't close this thing in 30 days. I can't write a 30-day contract for you. I got to do a 45 for you and be ready to do an extension because of what I'm dealing with and what I know about. That comes from the idea of really wanting to know and understand who you are, and I want you to know who I am. I want you to know that, look, I care. I really do care about what you need and what you want. And as agents, we have got to learn how to come across that way. They can't be a number. Yeah. They can't be a commission check. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That you will get both of those if you take the time to realize, do you and that person match or mesh or whatever, whichever fly term we want to use with it. We can do that, still make the money, still not be a discount agent, still get the commission check that we have rightfully earned. Because when you do it right,
look, he hit it right there.
Whomever the client will go in and go to bat for you, and they will pay you. You know, we had them agents that come in, man, how I'm supposed to get paid, man? I don't know, because I'm not sure if the seller gonna pay me or such and such. Just do the right thing, and I promise you'll get paid. Yep. You know what I'm saying? You will get paid one way or another.
God bless y'all, first of all. God bless y'all. As a lender, we can understand the most valuable asset that we have is our time, right? So, you know what I'm saying? When you guys talk and have these conversations and interview the buyers, which we get digressing here a little bit, but when you guys talk to these buyers, it saves everybody's time and it makes you more valuable to the actual client. But there are agents out there that choose not to have these conversations with the buyer, and they rather go by the approach of the ostrich syndrome. I don't want to know anything. I just want to stick my head in the sand, and I want to throw as much mud at the wall and see what sticks. Yeah. And then when you do that, you're wasting, one, everybody's time, and then two, you're not doing what's in the best interest of your client, because then you're putting them in a position to fail. And from the beginning, if they get shot down, and you didn't take the time to actually understand their situation and put them in a better situation or advise them properly, then you're automatically putting them in a bad headspace to now they got this bad taste in their mouth about buying a house. Yep. So then you're definitely not getting a contract. You're definitely not getting a commission. So God bless y'all for doing that. But what I also want to say is that it's very important for the buyers out there that they do sit down and have an interview with their agents. To Walt's points. Is because it's so important. Every agent handles their business completely different. Mm-hmm. I did have one buyer come to me, and they actually was listing their property, and they actually decided to list it with a mega team. I won't say the name, but they listed it with a mega team, and they became another number. There was never one person to contact. There was never one person to talk to. And when they called the office, it's like, okay, well, look, what's your MLS number? What's the number of your property? Well, let me try to research it and find out what's going on, and then I'll give you a call back. And it completely put a bad taste in their mouth. Now they have a bad experience with actually listing a house and going through that experience, which, you know, is going to kind of haunt them from here on out. So I do think it's very important for you to sit down and have these harsh conversations with your agent before you actually decide who you're going to hire and who you're going to move forward with. But to these people here, a lot of people may be out there thinking, well, I want to have the interview, I want to understand, but what should I actually ask the agent? I don't necessarily know what to ask. So for those, I just kind of want to figure out, okay, well, look, can we help them out with what questions? What are a couple of good questions that they need to ask the agent to try to get a better feel for if this is the person that they can work with or not? Philosopher?
I'm not going to take Walter because I already know what his is because we talk about this a lot. I would want you to ask me is, what resources do you have to help me? You know, so what bag of goodies can you pull out? You know, so we walk in the house, or when we meet with them in the console, you know, we had a pretty folder with the buyer's rep and all the cards and stuff. We looking fly with that. But what resources who can you pick up on your phone and say, man, I got a leak, I can't afford to pay a plumber. Who you got that I can come out, they can come take care of that for me? Yeah, I can do that for you. You need, as a buyer or a seller, whatever the case may be, you need to know what are their resources like and what type of pool do they have in this industry. Who can you call? One day Mark called me. That's when Mark called me. I was in Florida. Man, I need a survey. I'm in Florida, Mark. Man, I just need a survey. Okay, Mark, hold on. 20 minutes later, survey company set up, schedule, we ready to go. These are the type of resources that you have to be able to do as an agent, and these are the things as a buyer or a seller you need to ask that agent. What do you have in your tricks that can make this deal better, faster, smoother, comfortable for me?
And you also have to ask yourself, if you can't call your agent and ask for real estate services, how much business are they really doing?
Yeah.
Do you really want them? Do you really want them dealing with your deals or whatever the case may be? So I think that's a great question. I think that's a great question. What you think, Closer? What's a great question for them to ask?
I think a lot of times the agent can answer a lot of questions for them when they come in. You know, as an agent, I'll come in. First thing I ask is, you know, after we go through the presentations, what do you expect from your agent? You know, that way we can get on the same page, right? The common one I hear is communication. Okay, we ain't got to worry about that because whenever something go wrong, Walter gonna know, and I'm gonna let you know. You know before it hit the fan. Okay, right. We gonna know ahead of time. You know, I'm all about, you know, I love the tools in the toolbox. Because I'm big on that. That's one of my biggest things I talk about with my clients is, look, I got resources. And when you deal with me, you know, just like the philosopher, when you deal with us, first off, when you make that call, we the ones that's going to call you back. You know what I mean? Or text you or email, whatever's your scenario. You know what I mean? But if we don't have them right in front of us, we definitely we know somebody that knows somebody because we've been in this business long enough and worked with almost every scenario there is out there to have these people in our database or in our pocket or, like I like to say, in our toolkit. You know, so I think it's important as a buyer or a seller to really kind of ask, you know, what's important to you as an agent. Oh, well, it's important for me to blah, 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 blah. You want to know that. Because I know if I'm sitting there, I'm going to ask you that question. If I'm a, you know, buyer or seller, I want to know why am I working. And I want to look at you and see your response. You know what I mean? I don't see if you're giving me lip service or if you really mean what you're saying. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's what comes from asking questions. I talk about this as an agent. The reason why the philosopher and myself do well with our clients is because we ask a million questions and we in their business.
All of anything.
And so because we in their business and we ask a lot of questions, we have all this information that we know how to react. So that we can say, okay, well, this is the best scenario because you told me this, and this is how this fits in that scenario. You know what I mean? A lot of times people ain't even thinking about that. You know what I mean? They just saying, oh, I got a client. Oh, well, let me take you to, you want to buy a new house? Oh, well, let me take you to 10 builders. Even though all 10 builders, not one of them is in the price range they need to be in.
Right.
or has the incentives that they need because they didn't ask, and they don't know nobody there. So they showing up new just like you.
Yeah, and that is horrible. Doc. That is horrible.
Man.
I can honestly say, man, when I do a new construction, I literally call this cat in the corner, man. Hey, man, I got this right here, man. Who I go to? Who I need to talk to? For real, who I need to talk to? Do you know these people? And that's it. Because I know for a fact that that's a question you need to ask. You need to know, okay, is me buying a new construction, me buying a resale, or me at this price point, is this out of your realm of experience? Not to say that do you do real estate over years or have you done multiple transactions? Because we all have done multiple and have do the deals, of course. But there are some transactions that either we just struggle with or we just don't understand as well. So for me, if you come to me and you're not an investor, but you're trying to buy a house like as an investor at an investor price, which is what, 120 or less, I can do that because I do that all the time. So you do better coming to me versus coming to the close because the close doesn't really do it. He knows how, he understands it. But is that out of his realm of expertise a little bit? It is. So he'll tell me, Lemon, what you got? I need this right here. Lemon, all right, blase. You have to know where you are and what you're really trying to accomplish and make sure the agent that you're speaking with can actually accommodate that. And that's not to say they don't know how to do real estate. It's just, is that out of your realm? And if it is, and you like the person, what can we do or what resources can we get to make that just happen?
Exactly. And what he just said there is part of I'm a part of his toolbox. He a part of my toolbox.
Right.
So if I get an investor that could, to see, that's the other side of it that we don't even talk about, which is a whole nother episode. But, I'm sitting there with that client and they say, you know what, Walter, we selling our house, but I want to buy investment property. I'm going to say, well, you know what? I got a partner that works with me, and we work together, and we work on investments. And I'm going to call him in on this. See, that's not being greedy, right? Yeah. That's not making that client all about a number.
Right.
That's me saying, you know what? Because really, literally, I'm giving the commission away, or I'm giving the most of it away to somebody else. And if you really want to come to stats, right? But what that's saying is, hey, this guy here knows more about this than me, and I want to make sure you get the best win. So I'm going to put him in place on the team so that we can all find the best win for you in that scenario. That's talking about caring about people, and that's what it's about.
That speaks volumes for you as an agent because you're doing your fiduciary duty to make sure they're setting themselves out for success and to be in the best situation with somebody that has expert knowledge about that niche, so to speak. Because everybody has their strength and have their knowledge about certain industries and certain areas. I mean, you can kind of narrow this thing down to anything when you talk about different niches and what people, are experts in. Niches.
Tomato.
Are we gonna start that argument here? No, we're not. We're gonna start that argument here. We're gonna look that up. We're gonna look that one up later.
We'll let it ride.
We're gonna look that one up later. But that says a lot about the agent. The fact that they're putting the customer first instead of themselves, which is a commission check. But I think we had a great episode. We done knocked these people down. We talked a lot, and I know we probably can still go for another hour just talking about from one thing to the next. But we gonna save a little bit. We gonna save a little bit for the next time. So we gonna give them.
Look, they gotta tune in.
They gotta tune in to the next episode. All right, real talk. Takeaways, man. What you got, philosopher?
For real, that's quality stuff we got here, man. All we want you guys to understand is that we're people too, and we have a level of understanding just like anybody else. And all we want you to do is to understand us just like we want to understand you, and we come to that common ground.
Closer?
For me, I think that the way I'd wrap this up in a bow would be, it's important to interview who you're going to put one of your biggest investments, in their hands. And don't do it alone. Don't go out there and just... because we ain't even talk about as a buyer, most of the time the listing side pays anyway. So 99% of the time, you getting all our services for free as a buyer. You know what I mean? Which we ain't even talk about that. Is I don't see a reason why a buyer would not use an agent every single time, just to make sure. I mean, that's like your get out of jail free card on Monopoly every single time. You know what I'm saying? But I'd wrap it up like I said with interview your agent that you want to work with and find somebody that is like-minded, that's going to care about you as the client, and you're not either a number or a commission check. You're the client, and they're going to look for your best interests at all times.
Solid.
Great point. Great point. So I think for my closing points would be just think about your regular life. Just think about your regular life. If you're doing your job that you're doing right now, let's say they slash your compensation or your salary in half, you're not going to do or go above and beyond the same way you was as when you had your first salary. Chances are, on your regular salary, you was complaining about you're not getting paid enough. So if they cut it in half, then you know what I'm saying, you ain't going to do anything. I would just say relate that to an actual agent. And if you're cutting their compensation in half, or you're busting them over the head and saying, hey, look, you getting 3, I need to feel a 1.5 of that, or whatever, on helping me close this thing, or whatever the case may be, whatever you're doing. I just want you to think about that. The second thing is, it's very important for you to get out and interview. What's important is the verbal and the communication, but what's also important is the nonverbals. You can actually sit there with your agent. You can ask them questions. They can say one thing out of their mouth, but you can see in the body language that they full of shit or not. So it's very important to have that face-to-face interaction. Get out, interview your agent, understand who you dealing with. Make sure you like their nonverbals as well as their verbals. The only way to figure that out is to get face-to-face with them. Outside of that, we out of here. Make sure you like and subscribe. Check us out. Please go on Facebook. Leave us comments. We have a Facebook Live coming up soon. Yeah. We out there. We'll be in contact. Got live events coming up soon. Make sure you follow us and stay in contact. We got a lot of good stuff coming up. Outside of that, we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
Yes, sir.